All right, end of year is upon us. I have no idea where the year 2022 has gone, but it is almost over. And we find ourselves again thinking about things like Giving Tuesday and end of year fundraising. And so Crystal and I want to give you some ideas today on how to bring your board and your leadership team into fundraising and maybe some new ways that you haven't thought about before. How to get them involved in digital channels a little bit more and how to help them feel supported. So we'll do some quick intros. I'll get started here. My name is Taylor Shanklin. My friends call me T Shank. Feel free to call me T Shank if you'd like. I am the CEO and founder of Barlele, and we recently launched, and Kimberly mentioned, Creative Shizzle, which is a new graphic design kind of spin-off service that we are offering. So I've been working with nonprofits for about 15 years in the nonprofit marketing technology world. Sorry, that was a mouthful. We help. So I've done a lot of different things in that 15 years. Digital has changed a lot, transformed a lot. There's a lot of new great technologies out there like Keela and so many tools to make digital fundraising and marketing and audience engagement easier. So feel free to reach out to me if you've got questions. I do host a podcast called Talking Shizzle. If you go to creativeshizzle.com, you can check it out. We talk a lot about nonprofit marketing and growth and tactics and things like that. I am joining you today from Boone, North Carolina, where yesterday, Crystal, I had Mexican food. So I got my queso.
That's awesome.
I'm originally from Texas. So I could basically live off queso if I had one meal only to eat for the rest of my life. So last night I had Mexican food, got some queso. So that's a little bit about me. And Crystal, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, T. So hi, everybody. I'm Crystal Cherry. I'm excited to be here with you today. I'm zooming in from Atlanta, Georgia, although I'm a native New Yorker. Excited because I've been fundraising for a long time. I think I started in 1999. Jesus, Taylor,
that is a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah. It's been a minute. So I'm a fundraiser turned board consultant and really excited about the space that I'm in because I get to do both. I get to work with boards about all kinds of things, including fundraising. And so this is the exciting time of year because we are entering into our holiday season, which is the biggest time of year for us as fundraisers, right? We know that Q4 is when we bring in all of our funds. People are feeling warm and fuzzy and they're wanting to give, right? And now we're coming into Thanksgiving and then Giving Tuesday, as Taylor mentioned. So I'm a kid and canine mom. I'm also, as I mentioned, a native New Yorker. I'm an extrovert. I do a lot of work in the DEI space. And I'm also a recent author. I wrote a children's book last year. It's coming up on a year, T. I can't believe it. So a lot of good stuff going on. And we are here to present how to get your boards and CEO to embrace your fundraising. So let's go for it.
Let's do it.
So what we're finding is that, despite all of the economic uncertainty that we're experiencing, people are saying we're in a recession, gas prices are crazy, food prices are crazy. Nonprofits are resilient around fundraising. Even despite all that's happened, they continue to use their major pre-existing campaigns, and they're just making some adjustments to those campaigns. They know that funds are tight for people, but they know that if they continue to reach out to them and steward them and cultivate them, people are loyal and they will give, even if it's not at the same amount, but they will give. We know that technology and innovation is being used now for large fundraising initiatives, and T is going to talk to you a little bit about that. We know social media, of course, and virtual engagements have saved our relationships that we had to keep over the pandemic. Donors are still giving. Don't think people are not giving because of some of the challenges we're experiencing with the economy. They are still giving, but you have to keep those relationships warm. And then old-fashioned stewardship still works, right? So relationships. So that's pretty much what we know about fundraising. Nonprofits are still out here. We're still raising funds. Our major gifts programs are still in existence. We just have to cultivate those relationships. We have to teach them and we have to train them and give them the tools. And that's what Taylor and I are going to talk to you about today. So let's move to the next slide. So again, as I mentioned, we know that stewardship works. We know that during the pandemic, there was an increase in small donors. Small donors came back to us, $250 and below. Those donors surpassed major gift donors during the pandemic because everyone was so scared. Everyone was feeling so confused and uncertain and angry. People just wanted to do something. And so they were making $50 and $75 and $100 donations. So they came in strong. And also what we found is that lapsed donors came back. Those who we lost, we call them side bunts and lie bunts, right? So some donors who had gone away had given some years. Side bunts is some year, but unfortunately not this year. So they may have given in 2018 or 16 or 15. And then when 2020 hit and all the craziness happened, they came back. So we saw a huge increase. And this was the opportunity to grab them back when they came back and steward them and cultivate them so that they would not go away, right? And so we know that it worked during 2019 and 2020. Let's move forward. So boards, what should our boards be doing, right? So now this is what I tell my clients. Now is not the time for us to be, conservative and for reserve, and now is not the time to allow your fear to overtake how much you care about the mission of your organization. So care more than fear, right? So push through the fear and do it anyway. That's what my mom used to tell me. We're all scared, but push through that fear and do it anyway if you believe strongly in it. So this is the time for intentional, outright, and deliberate advocacy and asking. So let's move forward.
I love that. That's a good mantra, Crystal. Care more than fear.
Yeah.
Repeat it over and over again every day in the morning when you get up and you're having your coffee.
Yeah, we can use that term in our lives just in general. Care more than fear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So some of the things that your boards can be doing, they could be making statements about their involvement with your organization. We don't want their board involvement to be a secret, right? We want everybody to know that they're serving on your board, right? We want them to be transparent about how the operations of your organizations may have shifted or are still shifting because of the pandemic, and what needs your organization has, what pressing needs are at the top for 2023, right? We want your boards to support your fundraising team. So if you have a director of development or a chief development officer or direct development coordinator, we want your boards to be in touch with those folks to find out, hey, we're all in, we're ready to roll up our sleeves and jump in. Please tell us how we can help. We need guidance from you. So they should be working with and supporting the fundraising team. And then if they've already made their annual donation to the organization, now it's time for a stretch gift, right? You say, okay, I already made my $500 or my $250, but year end is here. And I know that we're trying to push our needle up to the top so that we can make our goal. I'm going to give an extra $150. I'm going to give an extra $500. I'm going to match what I gave earlier in February. I'm going to match that 500 and give another 500 at the end of the year. So make stretch gifts. This is the time to talk to your companies and your churches and your associations and your book clubs and your fraternities and sororities to find out if they have match programs and say, hey, listen, I'm on the board of this fabulous organization. I made a $250 donation earlier this year. I'm about to stretch my gift again and make another 250. Would you match it and give another 250 or another 500? Your church, your job, your book club, your fraternity, your sorority, your Rotary. So there are groups and organizations that you're involved in that might have matching programs, and now is the time to ask them, right? And inform everybody your cousins, your friends, your families, your distant relatives, your colleagues, how this organization is changing lives, right? And then let them know how they can support. Give them the website. Ask them to like your organization on Facebook, right? Tell them Giving Tuesday is coming up, and we're going to have some fabulous campaigns. And I'm hoping that a lot of our folks who are participating this year in Giving Tuesday already have their campaigns up and ready. And a lot of folks are allowing you to give before Giving Tuesday, right? So hopefully you can make a gift today, before we even get to Thanksgiving. And so this is what we want our board to do, to encourage their friends and family to go to your organization and to make a donation even before Giving Tuesday. So these are different ways that your boards can get involved in year-end fundraising, right? So here's some of the things we just talked about. Make your gift, a stretch gift, get a matching gift, share with your friends, encourage others, and then let everyone know that you are a proud ambassador, an advocate of your organization. So move forward. All right. So if your board has not been engaged and involved in fundraising all year long, which I certainly hope that's not the case, now is the time to give them the crash course. We really have 2 months left of the year. We're not even 2 full months because we're what, a week and a day into November. So we have a little bit of November left and all of December, right? So we're going to coach them on how to ask, right? We're going to ask them to create a list of who they can ask. So I tell folks, take out your phones, scroll through your phones, 5, 7, 8 people in your phone who you know who can make a $50 donation or a $100 donation. Maybe they've even heard of or they don't know you serve on the board. You've never told them. This is a good time. Say, you know what? Oh my God, Amy. Amy works at Home Depot. Oh my goodness. Judy, she works as a professor. So these folks can give $50. They can give $75. They can give $100. To let them know why you care about this organization, what good it's doing in your community, and ask them to give you $50. You will blow $50 in Target. You know we're going to Target, and $50 later, we're trying to figure out what is this junk in my cart. We got, we got lipstick, we got, candy bars. Take that $50, give it to a great organization and change a life or change the environment and put that candy back. You don't need it anyway, right?
You know what, Crystal, that's actually a great email campaign. Stop blowing your money on that Target trip you didn't need. Give it to us.
Hey, listen, T, I'm not gonna have Target coming after me trying to sue me, okay?
I'm lucky I live in a small town and that we don't have Target because it saved me a lot of money.
So create a goal for your board members. So let's just say, okay, for the next 2 months, we want each board member to raise $500, right? And then we're going to create a touch plan for the next 3, 4 consecutive weeks. Every week, we're going to send something out, whether it be an email, whether it be a video, whether it be social media posts, whatever. We're going to create a touch plan where we're constantly touching people, letting them know what's going on, right? And then we're going to learn how to embrace the digital strategies that Taylor's going to talk about in a little bit, using peer-to-peer and crowdfunding and all those kind of good things. So crash course on fundraising for the next 2 months. Okay, let's move forward. All right, and so we need to take the fear out of fundraising. Board members are often allergic to fundraising, team. They're scared. They're scared to ask for lots of reasons. They're scared because they don't feel prepared. They're scared because they don't know how much to ask. They're scared because they don't know where the money's going to go once they ask for it, right? They don't know the fundraising goals. They feel like they're going to be rejected. They feel like people are going to feel like you're trespassing all over them. All those things are the reasons why people and board members are scared to ask them. I say, get over all of that, right? You believe strongly in this organization, despite the fact that you know that folks might feel that way. Say, listen, guys, I'm passionate about this organization. Let me show you a video of the work that they're doing. Let me share this story about the woman whose life was changed, or about the cats in the shelter who could now have a home. Whatever it is, let me tell you why your $50 is going to go further with this organization than it's going to go in Target, right? Give them success story examples. Practice and role play. Let's say, okay, listen, let's do a quick role play. I know you're nervous about it. Let's practice how you might ask one of your cousins or your colleagues how you're going to talk about the organization. Then tell me what you would say. You let them back and forth. Do some role playing so that they'll feel comfortable. No, these are our talking points, right? We're going to give you a list of talking points to say so you'll know what the key buzzwords are, right? And then we're going to give you the tools and the techniques. We're going to give you the videos. We're going to give you the compelling stories. We're going to help you set up your the platform or whatever platform we're using for people to come on and register. So we're going to help you by preparing you, giving you what you need so that you won't have to be scared. You can go in confidence and you can go in feeling like, you know what, I'm an advocate for this organization. I love what they do. I know they're changing lives. I'm going to care more than fear. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to ask for this $50 or $100 or whatever it is. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to empower you as board members to make the ask. Let's move forward, team. All right, some questions, but you might want to ask yourselves before you start asking people, right? Before, as a board member, or for anyone for that reason, but we're talking about boards today. So before you go asking people to make donations, here's some questions you might ask yourself. Am I clear on the mission? of this organization? Like, do I know exactly what this organization does? Because sometimes I talk to board members, and from some of their responses, I don't think they get it. Right? And then no, why is it important to you? You might have a personal connection. You might have had a mother who passed from breast cancer, or a good friend who was homeless before they got back on their feet. You may have a personal connection to the mission that you can share with people. Do you have a compelling story to tell about how that organization has changed lives? You know, is there great videos or photos that you have that they've given you that you can use? Do you have some statistics? Do you have an infographic or something that you can share, right? A testimony of a specific person who says, you know what, because of this organization, I was able to graduate from college. I'm the first gen in my family. I didn't think I would be able to go, but because of the scholarship money I received, I was able to go to college. Do you know how people can give? Can they give via Cash App? Can they give via credit card? Can they give a car? Can they give artwork? Can they give stock? Can they give using cryptocurrency? Like, how can you make donations to your organization? And then once you say thank you, because you've asked your friend, your cousin, your colleague to make a donation, who at the organization is also going to send them a thank you note? Because we want to make sure this donor is thanked. And you want to make sure that this organization is doing due diligence for this person who may be a first-time donor to them. Right? We don't want many donors during Giving Tuesday are first-time donors. They're outsiders outside of your traditional network. This is the time to grasp them and say, oh my goodness, you're a new donor to our organization. It was a $50 donation. And while that may seem small, it's big to us, right? And we want to invite you in the family of our organization. We want you to like us on Facebook. I'm going to send you the next newsletter. The gala is coming up in April. My God, we have an ongoing online program coming up. We want to keep you involved in the life of the organization. And then you want to find out if the person says, you know what, this organization sounds fantastic. Do they have any volunteer opportunities? Can I engage with them in some other way? You want to know that. So these are some questions you might want to ask yourself, board member, before you go out and start asking people for donations. Okay, let's move forward, T. And then you want to know how to ask, right? And so this is that prep work we talked about. You want to know, ask for what do we need? What are our most pressing needs? I always ask board members, if your organization was to receive $1 million unexpected gift, unexpected, how will your organization use those funds? And everyone starts looking up at the ceiling like, oh my goodness, I don't know. We want everybody to say the same thing. Well, we need more staff. We need more computers. We need to buy some software so that we can cultivate donors, right? We need to improve or increase our programs. Like, you need to know what the money will be used for. What are your most pressing needs? And then how much do you need? The fundraising goal is 1.4 million. We're halfway there. So this is what we need. We need $500,000. We need $600,000 or $700,000 for us to get there. And then why do we need it? Because without these funds, fewer kids will be served. The programs won't be able to work as long. The computers are old and dilapidated. Like, know why you need it, and then know how it'll be used for good. Then make your story and your ask personal. You know, when I was in college, I didn't have anybody to support me, and I struggled through. I barely made it through college. But this organization gives students an opportunity to get an education and not have to worry about finances. That is why it's personal to me. And then be personally ready to respond to every response you get. You might, someone might say, I can't give right now. Things are kind of tight at the house, whatever. And so you don't want to say, okay, thank you. Just listen, I understand things are tight right now, but every dollar amount matters. I mean, even if you can only make a $10 donation, that matters to us. Or we totally understand that now is not a good time. We'll put you on our mailing list. And how about I reach out back out to you in 3 months to see how things are going, and maybe you'd be in a better position to make a $25 donation. So you just know how to respond if you should get a no, right? And then send big thank yous of appreciation when they do make the donation, and then let the world know that they gave. So these are some things that you should know before you go about asking people. Let's move forward. So you want to know what your donors want, you know, why they give. Everyone has different motivations for giving. You know, what people give for charitable persons. People give because they want to be a part of a bigger story. They want to help to solve a problem. They want to be recognized. They want to give for tax reasons. They give because someone they know and love has asked them to give. So the person who's asking makes a huge difference, usually particularly for people of color, right? We know that we give because our pastor asked us to give, or our fraternity brother, or my best girlfriend asked me to give to the American Cancer Society. She's a cancer survivor, so I'm going to throw $100 over there. So the person who's asking makes a difference, right? We want to be recognized. And then most of all, donors want to know how their monies were used for good. They want to see impact. So know what donors want and be prepared to give them that information so that they will continue to support you forever and ever. Okay, let's move forward, T. I know time is an issue here. So remember what I said, create a goal. Just say I'm going to raise $750 between now and the end of the year. Maybe I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room. I'll do a stretch goal. I'm going to say, I'm going to raise $1,000, right? Realistic, $750, wiggle $1,000. Next. Create that list I told you. Pull out your phone, 10 to 25 names of people who you think can make a donation, and they give because of the organization, but because they love you, right? And out of respect for you, you've done something wonderful. You've taken their kids to the baseball game all year long. So listen, don't give me a Christmas gift. I don't want your cookies. I don't want the scarf. I don't want the tie. Take that $25 or $50 and give it to this nonprofit. Next. Know your sphere of influence. Know who, a church friend, your neighbor, someone who is in a local Rotary, your book club. Like, know who in your sphere of influence you're going to be reaching out to. We talked about that already a little bit. Let's move forward, T. All right, and so I'm going to hand it over to T. Shane, who's now going to talk to you about digital strategies that you can consider when you're getting your board and your CEO excited and pumped about fundraising. T.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. And all of this can build upon the foundation that Crystal gave us in terms of ideas of how to outreach, who to reach out to, and how to help people feel more comfortable getting involved. So I'm going to give you a lot of different ideas on digital engagement and ways in which you could pull your board into that story with you. And most importantly, leverage their networks, right? Because your board might be very well connected, full of very well connected people in your community, influencers. You might have some powerhouses sitting on your board there. They've got a network. So the more that you can give them and prepare them with social media, with digital tools, the better they will be at being able to use their networks to amplify your year-end message. Now, when it comes to digital, there's a lot. Right, Crystal, there is a lot.
I love this.
Okay, you might often feel this way. I feel this way sometimes, and I run a digital agency. So it's okay. You're in good company. You're not alone. Many of us feel this way. And I'm going to give you some ideas on like kind of some trends and some areas of focus. But with that being said, I know if you feel like you're like juggling a bunch of coffee cups and they're all about to spill all over the place and you're like, I don't know what to do. First off, take a breathe. Again, we all feel this way. Digital can be overwhelming because there are just so many options now when it comes to digital communication and or digital fundraising. So what I always like to tell our clients is don't boil the ocean, okay? If you try to boil the ocean, you're going to get overwhelmed and you probably won't do any digital. I like that. Oh, I just saw a little smiley laughing face go up. I like this in Zoom. I hadn't seen that before in Zoom. So try to just take a deep breath and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to focus on the areas that are the most important where we can be effective, right? Because if we try to do too many digital things, then we're like, and it feels like a hodgepodge and it's not really connected. The important thing is to come down to center and to remember that to give is human. And whether we are giving in person, like Crystal said, at our church or at our book club and meeting and, connecting in person, or we are giving in a digital place or space, it is still one of the most human things we can do. And so what I want to hopefully give to you today to take home with is how can you engage these boards, these beautiful humans who work with you, who are involved with your organization? How can you empower them with digital tools that still have that human-centered and that heart-centered connection?
Mm.
Because the thing is that the online world is the new world. It is where we all live. Like Crystal said, open up your phone, scroll down and see who you got. But like we all kind of live like this all day long. You know, what's going on? What's up with my Twitter? What's up with my Facebook? What's up with my
Right.
Instagram? Who messaged me? You know? And so how can we take that human aspect into the digital world? A lot of it can be through social fundraising where people are more authentic, where they are really kind of showing themselves to the world. These are a couple of trends to kind of think through as you're starting to think through how do I make, if you are still even kind of trying to transform your organization to embrace more digital tools. Some of the top things I would focus on are social fundraising, having a digital first mentality, right? And then being conversational. And let me talk through a few of these things real quick. When we go back to that boil the ocean slide and what not to do not feel like you have to be on every social media channel. I don't even know how many exist now. There are so many, you can't even keep up with them. Instead, pick one or two or three where you can do them well and do them really well and show up really consistently. I had an organization ask me just this last week, well, is it okay if I show up on Facebook like just once a week or so? And I'm like, it's kind of okay, but it probably won't move the needle that much.
Hmm.
But I also don't think that you have to post 5 times a day on every single network. So it's
Right.
about finding balance in social media. My company, we do 2 channels kind of really consistently and really well, and that's Instagram and LinkedIn, and that's what we focus on, and we're good with that. And so I think it's really about finding your audience, figuring out where you can be effective, and then be consistent, at least 2 to 3 days a week. Kind of show up and bring content that brings value, right, to your audience. We can talk more about that. The next trend is to be digital first. What does that mean? Well, a lot of times in the old, stories of omni-channel fundraising, we've all heard that term a lot, multi-channel or omni-channel, and then you're like, I don't even know what the difference is between the two. Well, a lot of times those started with what's our direct mail, and then how do we make that happen in a digital place? Start thinking through how you can begin campaigns that are digital only campaigns, where maybe you conceptualize them to only occur in a digital place. So that's another trend. That could be SMS, that could be things like giving days or virtual events. So there's a lot of different ways to think about how to do digital first fundraising. But that is a trend, and I think we're going to be continuing to see it only more and more as time goes on. The last thing I'll talk about is conversational. What do I mean by that? And that kind of brings it back to that human aspect. So this is where you're seeing more like one-to-one conversations, right? So taking that, what feels like, when you think about email marketing or social, you're just kind of blasting stuff out. You're pushing it out into the world. But there are so many ways to also bring people in those channels, particularly on social and on tools like text and SMS. One of my favorite digital experiences I ever had was from a gym called Orange Theory, and they used to text me and like remind me about my classes and things like that. And they texted me because they asked me when I first signed up, how do you want to be notified? Do you want emails? Do you want phone calls, or do you want text? And I chose text, and they always texted me. So that's another thing where like kind of, think through how can you use your board, again, like Crystal said, to pull out that phone and say like, who do you know? Who can you send a text to right now to tell them what you're doing? A couple of trends. I think this continues to be the case. 88% of donors who have given through Facebook charitable giving tools, then they're likely to do it again in the future. I want you to think about why that is, right? And whether Facebook is dying or not, think about the channel. It is a channel where a lot of people still are. And again, going back to the phone, it's really, really easy as a donor to give. So when you think about getting your board members involved, those people that are already squeamish about asking for money and getting involved, empower them with tools that empower the donor and empower the board member, right? To like easily push it out. And they're probably on Facebook, so they can probably say, hey, go donate to our Facebook fundraiser for end of year. All right, next thing is to think about creating a touch plan. I'm going to give you a lot of different examples now. This is kind of like the example role where, again, you don't have to do all of these. These are just hopefully some ideas to kind of get the juices flowing and the wheels turning about maybe some new ways to digitally involve your board or your leadership team with end of year fundraising. All right, the first thing to do is to take some content that you have, break it out into micro pieces of content, bite-sized pieces over the course of your end of year fundraising campaign, or if you want to start it with Giving Tuesday, if you're doing Giving Tuesday, this is a great way to not reinvent the wheel when it comes to content. And one of my best examples and favorite examples of this is like thinking through, I like this framework of pillar content to micro content. So you've got an annual report that you probably do every single year. You have so much information and so much time and energy invested into putting together that annual report. What happens with the annual report after you send it out? Sometimes not a lot, sometimes not enough. Take that amazing content, start to re-share it at the course of end of year, give it to your board to say, hey, we've got all these little quotes and tidbits and like tiny little infographics and things like that we took from the annual report that somebody already wrote and already designed and already made nice. Just repurpose little tiny bite-sized pieces of that annual report and start dripping it out. This could be you drip it out in your email or on your social media profiles, and empower your board to have this information too. One of the things that we like to do often with organizations we serve is give them like kind of a social media ambassador plan, right? Think of your board members as your social media ambassadors. Give them a shared Google Doc with like, hey, this is what to post. This is the link to post to. This is the image. Like, give them everything where all they got to do is copy paste onto their LinkedIn or their Facebook or their Instagram or whatever channel they might like to use.
Hey,
so,
T, can I interrupt for a second? I want to
yeah.
share that, you know, the average, while the age of board members is certainly coming down, we have more younger folks joining boards now. Thank goodness. Those who are tech savvy. The average age of a board member is still about 55, 56 years old, right? Probably around my age range, right? We're still baby boomers. And so for us, we still might be a little daunted, you know, intimidated by technology. And so when you say make it easy, we really mean make it easy, because if you make it such that I try it and the link doesn't work or whatever, it's going to get past me and I'm going to put it down and do something else. But if you make it so that all I have to do is pick up my phone, you know, there's a big button flashing at me, I can just hit push or start or send, and it's going to work, and then I can go on about my business, then it's going to work. But if it's some kind of intricate thing where I got to go in and then whatever my instructions are not intuitive and I had to hit Control X Z to make, I'm just saying that for us older baby boomer brains, our brains are not triggered and wired to work the way you younger folks are. And so if you're going to get your board members engaged in doing some digital stuff, make it easy for us so that we can get it done in a few minutes. We don't have to go look for a username and a password, and we have to do all these other things, because you're going to lose us if you don't. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, it's such a good point. And that's exactly why I also recommend like giving them the content and then allowing them to share it on whatever channel they're the most comfortable with. So some might be bigger, again, especially in that age range, they're probably still more likely to be on Facebook, just in general, right? And so make it easy to like, here's a Word doc, copy, paste, you know, copy it and then paste it and like make it super easy. Exactly. All right. Give them what to say too, right? That's part of making it easy. So don't like just give them a graphic to share or a link to share. Just tell them what to write. copy paste the whole thing, right? So like, this is just an example. Just write a simple message for them. Who can be awesome for kids like Jenna. Just a small gift of $150 will help her family with the hotel accommodations and for them to be close to her after her surgery. Again, a lot of that language too, it's very human, right? Human centered. It tells a story. I can almost imagine Jenna in my head and her family trying to figure out where are we going to stay while Charles in the hospital. Right. So like kind of human centered and easy with giving them exactly what to say. So they don't have to go out there and be like, I'm not a journalism major. I don't know. I don't write. What do I write? I'm not a social media expert. Tell them what to say. They can tweak it in their own words if they want to, but they don't have to. All right. Equip your board with easy to share and easy to digest impact stats and infographics. So people are very visual these days in digital channels. They want stuff that's like quick to consume and easy to consume. So this again also kind of goes back to, you could take statistics that you already have in your annual impact report or annual report and make it into little, graphics and things like that that can be easily shared on social media and or in email or as a picture sent over a text to a friend, right? Ask your board to create a personal video, right? So we all have these, we can all use these now and like do a little selfie video talking about why I'm involved with your organization as a board member. Give them specific coaching instructions on like, coach them on telling them why they're on the board, what the organization means to them. Maybe they have a personal story with the organization that can be, again, really human-centered and touching. And then coach your board on what to ask for. So it might be $350 if we're going for the fences, but like Crystal said, like give them coaching on how to ask and what to ask for and be specific. So people like getting those personal videos. Again, they can be shared up to their social media. They can be texted to a friend. It's a great way for people to feel like on the board that they're actually getting involved with being able to share their story about why they even serve on the board. And no, not everybody's going to be comfortable with video. Not all of us are. So that's okay. Ask them to take a photo of the last time they were volunteering with your organization, or the last time they were at a board meeting, or the last time that they somehow were involved maybe at an event with your organization, right? Again, it's about getting the board to feel empowered to share their own personal story about why they're involved, while also plugging your fundraising campaign and asking people to give and asking people to get involved. There's all sorts of interesting tools out there too that you can give people, especially board members might like this. We like to use a tool called Twibanize. It's free. You can go and, on social profiles, sometimes when you see those little circles around, like I'm raising money for this, or I got vaccinated, or I'm voting, like whatever it is, you see those things on Facebook in particular. A lot of times people change their the little wheel around their profile photo. Twibanize is a tool that makes it really easy to create those and then hand them out for people to actually use for their own profile photos. So these are just a couple of examples of what they could look like. You can design them to look like anything. This example is me. We made one for a client that showed up as an Instagram story. So you can like turn them into profile pics or stories. Really easy to say like, oh, I'm walking to fight Alzheimer's, right? As an example. So that's a great free tool. Go to twibanize.com and check that out. All right, let's talk a little bit about crowdfunding and peer-to-peer. This is not usually a topic that comes up when we're talking about end of year fundraising. Usually we're just talking about end of year fundraising, right? And like, well, we've got our campaign, we've got our campaign messaging, and we're going to ask people to give at the end of the year. Why not involve a more social element to end of year fundraising, especially if we're talking about how to get your board involved to leverage their networks, right? So it could be as simple as asking your board to create their own Facebook fundraising campaign for end of year, or their own, do it yourself. I'm on a mission to walk or run this holiday season. I'm eating a lot of chocolate. I'm going to Target a lot because I'm hanging out with Crystal and buying a bunch of Snickers bars, right? I mean, that's what we do when we're at Target. And I need to go run and go work this off, or go on a walk, or go on a hike. And I'm going to raise money while I'm doing it, right? So give your board interesting ways to ask for money, right? It's not only about coaching them to make the ask, but giving them an idea for something that's fun that maybe they can even do with their family or neighbors or friends in their community as a way to also raise money toward your end of year campaign. So peer-to-peer or social fundraising or crowdfunding, all of those terms are, in my opinion, kind of bucketed in the same general methodology of fundraising, right? It's friends giving to someone saying, I'm raising money for this organization and it's going to this nonprofit. So whether or not you want to call it peer-to-peer or social fundraising or crowdfunding, it's all sort of the same general idea of giving people an opportunity, your fundraiser, your board member right here, to go, hey friends, I'm involved with the board. We're doing this thing around the end of year toy drive or food drive, or, again, walk off those holiday chocolate bars, right? Like anything kind of you can come up with, they can feel empowered to ask their friends in their network. And then, the money is going and being channeled over to whatever online platform like you're using to get those donations. Make it fun, throw a holiday party, right? And ask them to give as part of their entrance to the holiday party. So ask your board not to just come to another boring board meeting. Sorry, no pun intended. Actually, it was totally intended. Ask them to come to an end of year holiday party instead, right? You can do it virtual, you can do it in person. Chris and I talk about, just making it fun, creating a signature holiday drink, doing Jeopardy or trivia or karaoke. Make it fun to be on the board. That's one of the things I've experienced and I've heard from other board members before, like, I go to these board meetings, they're just kind of boring. I don't really know what they're talking about. We get meeting minutes and then we leave.
Right.
And then I don't talk about it or think about it again until the next quarter.
Next board meeting, yes.
Meeting. So like, try to get your board in on the action a little bit, like with your staff, build a community with them, right? Outside of just feeling like, oh, I'm going to these board meetings, and I don't know, I'm going to hear about finances and I'm going to probably say aye or say nay and move on, right? Give them something to actually get excited about. All right. Crystal, I think this is back over to you. Say thank you.
Yeah, so I'm really big on
stewardship.
Yeah, I'm really big on the thank you. I mean, we can't thank people enough. We think, oh, we send them an email thank you. No, and particularly if you have us old baby boomers, I want a thank you card in the mail. Thank you. When I was in the office working as a fundraiser, we did drop-bys to people. We would bring, particularly around this time of year, warm cookies was a wonderful way to thank people, particularly if they made a large donation. But if they're making annual donations online, sending a thank you note, sending a thank you video, sending an email, the automated emails, those are cool, but make it as personal as possible to make the person really feel like you appreciate them. And a lot of folks want to be recognized, and so you might want to recognize them on the website or give them a shout out on Insta, or in your newsletter, just say these are our wall of donors for the year, or warm cookies to all of my folks who gave $50 or above for the month of December, and then just indicate their name. So I mean, just make it so that they feel like you really do see them, really do appreciate that they've given, no matter how small the donation, because if you make them feel good, they will come back and give to you again, and they may increase their gift. It may not be right now while the economy is crazy. They may give you a small gift, but they'll give you another small gift until that economy gets better, and then that $50 will turn into 100, which will turn into 500, which if you keep them in the pipeline can turn into 1,000, and then who knows from there. So I'm just saying, treat them well now, no matter how small the donation is, and the sky's the limit on how long they will stay with you and how much they will give to you. So keep them, thank them, keep them, thank them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love the idea of just like doing a social media, gratitude post about your donors and your board members over the course of, like take November to do gratitude posts and stuff like that about people. People always feel good about being recognized for how they're contributing to the cause. So if you want to get in touch, let's open it up for questions. I'm guessing maybe we've got some questions or some chats that have come in. Crystal and I are super open to connecting, answering any questions. Please feel free to reach out. We're both on LinkedIn a lot too. So if you're on LinkedIn, go find us on LinkedIn, connect with us there. And here are our email addresses if you want to just shoot us, either of us, a note and ask us more about either digital marketing and stuff for this, or really Crystal's just phenomenal at coaching on how to get your board like just more involved and more organized in general.
Yeah, and stop complaining that your board is not doing anything. Give them something to do. Train them, prepare them, empower them, excite them, and engage with them. And they will do it if you do that. But if you're just waiting for them to raise money because they're on the board, they're not professional fundraisers. They're just regular Joe Schmo people who have warm hearts, who want to do good. But you have to train them and give them the tools and get them excited about getting money for you. So
yeah. I'm going to stop my screen share so I can see people and look at the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal and Taylor. That was super engaging. I don't even have a board that I'm trying to engage with, and I feel like I'm ready to go.
You want one? Yeah.
I'd love to use, the last 10 minutes to jump into questions. We have a question come in from Laura. I'm going to say them out loud. Either of you feel free to jump in and answer. We had a question from Lori saying some board members may feel uncomfortable about having a Giving Tuesday campaign and then just a few weeks later an end of the year campaign, especially those who are located in a smaller community, and sometimes it feels like it's too much. Do you have any thoughts on how someone could get their board and community engaged?
Yeah.
I mean, Giving Tuesday is a kickoff to the year-end program. And a lot of times folks who give for Giving Tuesday are not your traditional donors. Most of the time, there are donors who are first-time donors, and so this is a wonderful way to get those who don't know anything about your organization to start off by giving. I mean, yeah, some of your donors that are in your donor base might give, but we know that there are a lot of first-time givers and donors for Giving Tuesday. It's a national day of celebration. We're all giving on that day. So it's the one day that we're all saying, you know what? No target runs for me today. $50, I'm going to give it to this great organization, and I'm going to make that sacrifice. And then when December rolls around and it's Christmas time, I'm going to give again, or I'm going to find another organization to give to. But I don't think you should shy away. I think Giving Tuesday is the national day that it's just like we're all voting today. We're all voting today. We're all voting today. It is the day that we all give, and so that's the day that we want to get everybody out to do something wonderful. So on national on Giving Tuesday, November 29th, 2022, get your board engaged.
Yeah, and I would just add on to that too, a couple of things. So if you don't ask, you won't get. So like asking is okay, and people can just also like scroll past the email and move on if they're not ready to give right then. And I agree with Crystal. It's a good way to kind of like kick off the end of year campaign. Also remind people what Giving Tuesday is. I think this is something where we in the industry know what Giving Tuesday is, but when you as a donor who's maybe not involved in the nonprofit industry on a regular basis, receive all of these, it's Giving Tuesday emails, it's Giving Tuesday, and people,
what is that?
Remind them why it's important and what it is and how it really started was around the holiday season. We're all going out and being like such heavy consumers. How about we take some time to give back at this time of year? So like, I think it's really important to remind people of like why Giving Tuesday even started. because that could help them. Oh, okay. And then you tie it into the story of your end of year campaign as much as you can. If you make it feel like a cohesive story,
That's right.
then it doesn't feel so much like, oh, we're just asking for all of these different things that are disconnected. Because
Yeah.
I get that can feel a lot like figure out how to tie the story together.
Great response.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Giving Tuesday was when I first started at this job. So, but I just knew that I'm like, hey, you want me to donate? Sure, I'll donate, but I never understood what it was. So
it's like we all assume everyone knows now. Like, I don't think everyone knows at all. I think we need to educate our audiences,
Yes.
Yeah, please do for my sakes in the world. We had another question coming in from Allison. Have you used these tips with former board members or volunteers? Some of the tips that you talked about in your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
And we did, in particular, that thing that I showed y'all, Twibanize, with the profiles. We've done that with several organizations where they gave it out to board members, but also just kind of people who were their Uber fans that we knew would share stuff on social. And it works well. They like it when they are equipped with tools. Sometimes we've had, and one time I even ran a focus group not too long ago with those highly engaged either ambassadors or board members. And we said, what do you need? What do you want? And they were like, we want to share, but just give it to us, And so giving them the tools usually works, because then it's, again, to Crystal and my point earlier, it just makes it easy.
Definitely. You mentioned a recession back at the start. How do you suggest that we engage our board in fundraising when they could also be struggling financially due to the recession?
Yeah, and we know people's relationship with money and what's happening with them with money in their lives impacts how they feel about asking, because they're like, oh my God, money is so tight for me right now in my family. I can't even imagine asking anyone else to give. But know that, first of all, everybody is not in the same position that you might be in. There are some people who are doing very well, despite the fact that many of us are struggling, or many of us are finding it hard because milk is $6 a gallon, right? But for some people, $6 a gallon, they can buy milk. It's not a big deal. So we can't presume that we know what donors have the capacity to give, right? And so let them tell you, let them say to you, I'm not in a position, or now it's not a good time. But to not ask, because we're thinking we know what positions our donors are in, is a mistake. So I say ask, and also tell them whatever makes your pocketbook comfortable. Any amount, I'm a big proponent of, asking for a specific amount, like asking for $250 or asking for $500. But these days, I say, because that might scare some folks away. 250, oh goodness, I can't afford to put that out right now. Or 500 just seems so, I couldn't even. But if you say to me, listen, any amount matters. Give where your comfort level is. Okay. I can give. I'm looking at my watch. I'm looking at my budget. I can do 35 this week. I'll give them $35, right? And then if once that $35 gift is received and I'm treated well, I get an immediate thank you. Someone is saying something to me. Then the next time I think to give, that organization I gave $35 to a couple weeks ago or last month, they were really cool in how they handled that donation. I think I'm going to give them another gift, and I'm going to increase it from 35 to 50. So don't presume that you know how people are feeling. Some people are struggling, some people are not. And even those who are, I'm not a millionaire, but I could put out $40. I was thinking, do I really, really need that lipstick? No. I don't. I like those Burt's Bees, those lip balms, those Burt's Bees. You guys know, I love those. So I think I have a habit. I have a problem. I want to go out and get those to make sure my I don't need.
I definitely have a problem with these.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah. So don't presume you know my situation because of the economy right now. Everybody's situation is different. So go for it. And if people can't give, be tactful in the language that you use. But if they can't, they'll pass. And if they can, they will.
Like that.
And also, particularly if you've got a board member that can't give, but they can share, just ask them to share the story. Say, it's cool. We understand and times are tough right now, like, but would you help share, right? Would you help just like spread the word and, that sort of a thing. And that might be a way for them to still feel like they can give, just in a different way.
Mhm.
Love that. That was very insightful. Thank you. I'm going to try and squeeze in one more question here.
Sure.
How do we inspire our board to want to connect our organization to people in their network that might be good corporate partners or major gift donors?
Ooh, yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. Just kind of like how I said, I think having people will give, particularly corporate donors, they want the information, they want education, they want to see impact, they want to see those infographics. I just say arm them with the information they need, the talking points, the stories, so that when they go talk to someone who maybe works for a company, they're going to ask them those questions. Well, who is this organization? Who do they serve? How many people do they serve? What good have they done? What's their budget? Yeah, so making sure that they have that information, because getting them involved in the corporate community means that they're going to have it.
Yeah, and empower them to like to think about LinkedIn as a really good channel for board members, I think, to share their involvement and their story and your stories, because that's where a lot of those corporate connections will be. So like, don't just talk to them about Facebook and Instagram, like talk to them maybe the most about LinkedIn. I think that's a really underutilized channel when you're thinking about board involvement and building more corporate relationships.
And corporate social responsibility is huge. A lot of companies now will even ask, what kind of opportunities do you have for my employees to engage with your organization? And that's part of the package when you're asking them and saying, and I've been in an organization where we've created opportunities because the company asked, and I've had them say, we want opportunities where we can bring our children. So we created a giving opportunity on our Saturday, where the whole family could come in and participate. And, as a result of that, they made a donation. So talk to the company to find out what it is they want or need, because, it's always something of return, right? They're going to give because they want to make their employees feel like we're doing good in the community, but we're also leading into what you as employees have told us.
That. All right, everyone. Well, that concludes the session for today. Thank you so much again, Taylor and Crystal, for bringing such amazing and best practices. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that was very inspiring, and I love the energy you both bring on a Tuesday morning. So thank you for that. Before we go, I just want to let everyone know that there will be a short survey that's going to pop up right after this session. It's only going to take you about 20 seconds. We would greatly appreciate hearing your feedback on today's session. So I hope you will all fill that out. We also have our next webinar coming out November 17th, once again at 10 a.m. PST. That will be a Grantmaker AMA where Laura Manning and Bridget Estrella will discuss what funders want you to know about securing funding. Meredith is going to leave a link to register for that in the chat. But that is it for me. Thank you again, everyone. You'll get the slide deck and recording before the end of the week. I'll pass it off to Taylor and Crystal for a final goodbye.
Goodbye,
Thanks
everyone.
so much.
Feel free to reach out to us if you have questions.
Yes,
Yeah, reach out. Y'all have a great end of year, and
Go
stay in
vote,
touch.
go vote.
Yeah, go vote, go vote, and then have that party.
Yes.
Don't go to Target. Go to Target. Make your donation.
Yeah, don't go to Target. Yeah, pass that lipstick one time. You can buy it in January.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.